Hey guys, so I wanted to address this video about bulking and how long should you bulk for, how much weight should you gain, and when do you know when it's time to stop bulking and consider cutting. And this is a great question. So for myself personally, when I am assigning a rate of gain, first off, I will have somebody want to gain about 0.5 to 1% of their body weight per week. For most people, that's going to look around half a pound to 1 pound of body weight per week. Now, I think it's important to get this out of people's minds that they think that like you're just going to gain pure muscle. That's not how this works. Like, you literally cannot gain muscle mass and add more body weight and more body tissue to your body without gaining some sort of body fat. So you can keep your body fat percentage the same, increase your muscle mass, and you won't really notice that much of a difference in your overall look, but you will still gain some body fat. So just get that out of your head that you can gain muscle without gaining fat. Because the actual energy needed to synthesize muscle tissue is so small, like it's just not worth tracking. And the reality is that the reason why you want to go into intentional phases of weight gain or bulks, or how I like to refer to them as, what Renaissance periodization refers to them as massing phases or mass gaining phases. Periods where you are intentionally moving your body weight up slowly over time to hopefully improve your appearance at a higher body weight, so then you can be more muscular, because you can only be so jacked at a certain body weight. Eventually, if you want to get more muscular, scale weight's got to follow that. Tissue has more weight. Anyways, if you're a beginner, I typically will put a top end weight limit gain of around 20 pounds of weight gain. If you are an intermediate to an advanced athlete, around 10 pounds is going to be the limit of weight gain. And that is going to be over a period of around, let's say, 3 to 6 months, depending on how fast you do gain weight. Now, I will say that like some people will gain body fat faster than other people. Some people have better genetics. Some people take drugs that enhance nutrient partitioning. So nutrient partitioning is basically how much of the calories are going to muscle versus fat, and like other organs and tissues for maintenance and whatnot. But basically, those are good benchmarks / proxies of how much weight should you gain, and when should you stop it. Now, more visually, you can go off of once your abs start to kind of get a little bit more blurry, hard to see when when you're flexing them in the mirror under the same conditions, and they kind of are getting to be the point where you're kind of blurry, you're kind of getting kind of like really uncomfortable with how you look. Then it might be time to consider, potentially cutting your masking phase. Now, I will say that that is only a rule that I think should apply to people that have already put on a decent amount of weight and actually gain muscle. For most beginners, it makes sense to push beyond the stage of comfort or like to being super lean all the time, because that will hold a lot of people back from actually adding tissue and gaining muscle. When I gained, and I'll pop a picture up on the screen here, I was uncomfortable. I gained, I think, about like 40 pounds in that phase, but like, I have better genetics, I have decent nutrient partitioning. But the whole point with that here is I wouldn't have gained muscle if I wasn't intentional with my surplus. I didn't actually push my body weight up, and I wasn't okay with being, a little bit uncomfortable. Because you got to remember, if you really do want to get bigger, you do need to gain weight. But you should not get fat. And you can see from my picture, I did not get fat. I was maybe around 14-ish, 15%-ish body fat. And it only took me about, I think 4 to 6 weeks to get down to like 10% body fat. Like, losing body fat is not that hard. But when you are a beginner, put yourself in an intentional surplus, gain weight instead of focusing on just a look. Obviously, you should be getting more muscular. focus on increasing your performance in your lifts. Really take advantage of your noob gains. That is where you're going to build the most muscle. It's freaking awesome. Do not squander your noob gains because you're scared of putting on too much body fat. So for the first really like 2 to 3 years, that's what I would recommend. Be more intentional with your surpluses. Be more willing to put on body fat. Probably be a little bit more assertive. Probably go around 1 to 1.5% of body weight gain per week. But going off of when should you stop your bulk? When you notice that your performance is not really going up, when you're really just overeating a ton of food, like it's getting really difficult for you to. You spent enough time gaining weight, which is going to be a minimum of 10 weeks in a surplus. There are no such thing as mini bulks. Muscle construction takes months and months to actually consolidate. You need to have lots of things that happen to actually make sure that it is concrete and it is in place and it does stay. It's not like fat. It's not, there's no such thing as a mini bulk. Basically, push your body weight up until you get, and then get a little bit fat. When your training isn't as good, you don't feel as good, then consider cutting. But make sure that you are not being emotional about it and you're actually being rational about your decision, because understand that when you are bulking, you're going to maintain more water weights and whatnot. A really good rule of thumb is that, you know, let's say you gain about 10 pounds in your mass gaining phase, it's probably safe to say about, you know, 3 pounds of that is going to be, you know, water weight, 3 pounds of that is fat, and then 3 to 4 pounds of that is muscle, or something like that. Unless you have, you know, exceptional genetics or using performance enhancing drugs to, you know, which will alter nutrient partitioning. I found that from experience, usually for like, that's the ratios of gain for every 10 pounds, you know, about 3 pounds of water weight, 3 pounds of fat, 3 to 4 pounds of muscle, something like that is about what you can expect for every single 10 pounds. And understand that, you know, this is a long-term deal, and getting muscle is tough. It takes time. You gotta pay your dues, but it's how you look better. It's called bodybuilding for a reason. You gotta put on those, you know, and also remember that bulking, you need to have your training in place, because nutrition is important. It is absolutely necessary for actually putting on muscle, providing the energy, substrates, etc., for that to occur. But the main driving force of it is high quality progressive overload training with high volumes, mostly in the 6 to 12 rep range, just getting stronger over time. So focus on those big variables, and you know, hopefully this video was helpful. If you guys liked the video, make sure to like it, subscribe, follow me on Instagram. If you guys are interested in coaching or programs, adampeelerfitness.com, or click links down below, and I'll catch you in the next one. Later.